Hi, this is Jen Walker, Certified Health Coach, and I'm here with a few others, Jared Smithson and Julia Olson, who we just wanted to talk about the habit of mindfulness. We're excited about, this is my most favorite topic. What is mindfulness? I want you to contemplate and think of what mindfulness has been in your life thus far. And I have a couple quotes that might help us get to that portion. Can you see the quote here, Jared? Yeah? Okay. So this is part of it, the 5 senses that we have. If you are being observant, I don't know if you've ever thought about this before, but in order to have a memory become stronger, when you use more than one sense, you have more of a memory builder that will help you remember those experiences. So 5 senses is one of them. And then I'll go back to the quote now. So Eckhart Tolle is someone who kind of has really come to peace and shares a lot of information with a lot of people. And he focuses on the mind. And you should check him out. It's really cool. But this is the quote he says, realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. And if you think about that, it's something way more deep than what we can really get into. But being present in the moment is really important. Focusing on what you're doing, when you're doing it, and why you're doing it are really powerful tools to help bring a lot of joy. So try applying mindfulness to all parts of your life, okay? Think of this guy. Is this you at breakfast? So, he's poured his yummy cereal, you can see the missing picture, right? How he's pouring, it should be milk instead of orange juice into his cereal bowl. And so he's also multitasking, just doing all these things. And I used to think that I was a good multitasker, that I can do a lot and multitask really well. And that was what I, up until seriously recently, that I always thought that I could. And one thing that I struggle with is not being efficient. And so I have a checklist of things to do and everything like that. And I found that my full attention can't be on two things. My full attention cannot be on 2 things. And so there's times that I can do that because it needs to be done. But there's also times where I want to build those memories and have more of a focus on things that matter most. And so family, being with each other, this is what this is all about, being here on earth and making a difference to other people. Some people have large families. Some people are maybe single, or maybe, we all came from somewhere and have someone that needs us here on the earth. So who can you make a difference with? And if you have a family in your home, then that is something that is really powerful. So think of distractions that maybe your family has. Are there cell phones? Are there TVs? What things in your particular family are a distraction? Is sports a distraction? Is homework a distraction? All of them have a time and place. It's not that something is bad. It's when are you doing it, and how is it affecting other people? And how are you, if you're being with someone? So it also relates to eating, being mindful. And so one thing I thought was really cool is using those 5 senses when you're eating. I was learning about this, gathering information, and I realized I never smell my food. I don't know, I don't purposely sit there and hold it to my nose and smell it. I don't know if you guys do. This quote made me laugh because it says food poisoning can't be prevented by simply looking and smelling. I just read this and I wasn't being mindful when I posted this picture. I love this topic, obviously, because it says cannot. And I was thinking it said can be prevented. So all the mindfulness is just going out the window right now. But smell your food. Smelling your food is really a powerful tool, and it can help you enjoy it. It can help you remember it. It can help you feel more satisfied. I'm going to go to this one right here. Taste is about 90% of smelling it. And I don't know, popcorn or think of what smell, you have a instant taste that comes for it. Like chocolate, if I say that, the mind has also a powerful visual, and your mouth can even water and you smell. Go ahead, Jared.
When it comes to smelling and tasting food, the interesting thing is in Dr. A's Habits of Health, I've got my book right here. He talks about from a taste perspective that 85% of our taste recognition is in the first 3 bites.
Yeah,
and after that, we start eating with our other senses and stuff. So it's really important to be mindful in that situation when you just got all these fantastic smells around you, that you don't just simply keep eating because you're smelling something, because you're not even really enjoying the taste in the same way anymore.
Perfect. So also noticing recognition, like those 5 senses of your muscles, and being mindful, like noticing your hand and how fast and the muscles that it takes to put it to your mouth, and being aware of how you're sitting. Do you guys ever eat while standing versus eating while sitting? You definitely can like focus more on your food if you're being there with your food and sitting down. And so this is what Jared was just talking about. Satisfaction is 90% in the first 3 bites. So there was a study, and in part of this quote, it says, this research supports a notion of eating for pleasure. It's driven more by the availability of food than the food that's already eaten. So like, think about what that's really saying. So the problem in your brain is kind of like, oh my gosh, there's a whole box of Oreos. And you eat one, and then you kind of just keep going and going instead of focusing on the taste and like all that had been there at the very beginning stages. And then it, just like Jared said, the other senses kick in, and then you can't enjoy in the same way. And then you feel guilty and all these mind games. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. And so the 3 bites rule is the first bite, you think it's super delicious and you totally value that. And the second bite is good, but not as good as the first. And then the third bite, the food isn't going to taste any better. So you might as well, make sure that choice is something that's giving nutrition to your body. And if it's not, then, just be mindful. Anyway, we just talked about that. So discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want the most overall. What do you want to have? What do you want to be? I want you guys to think about that with yourselves. It can apply to anything really, of course. So think about that. And, he just showed you guys the book, the founder of the Habits of Health system. Dr. Anderson has a quote, and he was saying that mindfulness is the number 1 factor in creating and sustaining optimal health. So if you think about, it's not in the gym, it's not eating food necessarily. The number 1 is mindfulness. So start where you guys are now and think of maybe your mind, think of where your mind is with your health. Let's think about that for a minute. And then think about that quote that just mentioned, where do you want to be? So I love this picture. Why does this even matter? So let's say that you are maybe the person, a 200 person on the left, decides that they want to get healthy, or, they want to lose 50 pounds. That's what their goal is. So they go to the gym, they work out, they eat right, and they're excited about that. And they did it. They got to that 50-pound mark. That's awesome. Totally cool. But they didn't change what was in their mind. And so, they were focusing on the outer appearance, and they forgot to focus on that mind as well. And so, which we just talked about right there. So be aware of 2 things. Be aware of your emotions, and then also pay attention and ask yourself, do I treat myself and others kindly? Acknowledge and accept all of your emotions, and do not try to ignore them. They are trying to tell you something really important. And so is your mind full on the left of everything, or is your mind being full of presence, being mindful, not mindful? You guys got that? So think about your emotions. Maybe in the last day you've had some emotions, and think about what they were, and think of the next question that's really important is why, which we'll talk about a little bit. I wanted to go over these in relationship as well. So emotional brain solutions. This is when you're using emotions instead of understanding and going through these other things, these other helpful helpers that will help you with your mindfulness. So do you do these things? These are probably not the best. Kick the dog, ignore the family. Maybe somebody's a workaholic because they're, stepping away from all the emotions that they've had. Do you eat away the pain? Do you go grab a half gallon of ice cream and find it gone in the next couple minutes? Watch TV. Do you procrastinate things because you don't want to really move forward? Maybe it's been a hard job situation. I mean, I don't know. There's so many different things that people have to deal with that are not pleasing. And maybe some people use alcohol, and some people use video games, and people are maybe not kind, which we were talking about at the beginning. So one thing you'll want to do is be aware of any of those that you fall into, and I'm sure there's more. And then think of how the logical brain is going to connect you to really make some differences that change in your brain. So breathing deeply lowers your heart rate, and completing a task that maybe you've been putting off. Talk to a loved one about your feelings. Chewing on gum relieves stress, and getting a change of scenery, maybe go outside for a walk. Going to sleep to recharge your brain. And then I want Jared to talk about something in just a minute, but these are some techniques that you can use now. So these things are habits of health, some of them, and they have what we've been talking about over the course of the last 7 months. And these will help you to develop skills to change from the 200 pound person, how they lost 50 pounds. You're going to change your mind as well, not just the outward appearance. So these are things that will help with that. Healthy sleep, exercise, quiet time, deep breathing, social interaction, sunlight, hydration, service. That's a really big one. Prayer, hobbies, and physical contact, like touching and hugging, and you can go on that one. So the picture right there, I love that picture. And I remember it was with my mom and my sister. And I will clearly never forget putting my arms out in that same way and putting my face to the sun and just feeling the love and the warmth on my face. And that's something that is really calming. And so finding times for you that you can have some significant mindful moments. Okay, Jared, if you can share a little bit about deep breathing and calming your body and your brain.
Yeah, so this is something that I learned several years ago. 7 years ago, I lost 50 pounds. Using the programs that Jen and Julia and I now coach, and it was an incredible experience to lose that weight and become healthier. But amidst the maintenance stage, we had a lot of things happen to us in our life that caused a lot of stress. My wife and I had our identities stolen, and we ended up being on the hook for a lot of debt and things like that. And I had a previous business that was kind of failing. And so we had a lot of stress. And I was talking to one of my health coach mentors, and she was talking to me about breathing. And so I started to learn a lot about breathing. And one of the first things, not to get all religious or anything, but I was reading my Bible one day. And in Genesis chapter 2, it's talking about the creation of the world, right? And it says there that God breathed into Adam, the first man, the breath of life. And it made an impact on me because I realized in that moment how important breath was. If we stop breathing, we stop living. And oftentimes we, in the life that we live now, really a lot of chaos in our lives, a lot of stress, more so than there was 100 years ago and stuff. We breathe very superficially. We breathe up in our lungs and stuff, and rarely do we get down into our diaphragm and really get into deep breath. But some really cool things about breathing. When you engage your diaphragm and get into that like belly breathing, it engages the parasympathetic nervous system. It helps naturally calm your body and it helps your body function properly. So one of the other really cool things is if you're trying to lose weight, like Jen was talking about, trying to go from that 200 to the 150, there's a study done in the UK a lot of years ago, and they were working with people who were losing weight. And how does that fat escape your body? Well, they found that for every 10 kilograms of weight loss, 8.4 kilograms of the weight loss, that fat was escaped the body through breath, through breathing. It's through an oxidation process that happens. You have to drink lots of water in order for it to work well and stuff, which we do in our programs. But you have to breathe. And so yet another reason to focus on your breathing. Calms your body down. It's how your body gets rid of fat cells that when you're burning fat. But it's been such a blessing in my life because we've been able to teach it to our children. We have a 9-year-old little girl that gets a little crazy sometimes, and we'll sit down with her on a couch and say, okay, let's focus on our breathing. And within a couple of minutes, she's completely calm. She's able to be more mindful. She's able to assess a situation and be able to realize that, oh, my brothers don't hate me because they're not playing with me right now. They're just playing with their friends. And she can move on to something else. And so it just gives you a moment to clear your head and focus on something as simple as breathing, what keeps us alive. And it's drastically improved my life over the last several years.
Awesome, thank you. And stretching is also something that's really powerful. And to like do yoga and those types of exercises, it will really help bring your mind in connection with that. So think about some of those emotions that you were having before and why are you having that emotion? So these are some of the emotions possibly that you were feeling, and they're real to feel that, but it doesn't determine who you are. So think about these and replace them. Like that's what we need to do, is think about which ones are hard for us and go ahead and choose some of these that maybe you need to improve upon to have that be a part of you, and focus on that and replace that when that comes in your mind of those negative thoughts. Use the skills that we were saying, those mindful habits like breathing, and maybe there's other things you can do as well. Talking to a friend and doing things that are in tune with your body to move you closer to the goal, with that quote that we were saying before of not compromising what you want at the very moment for what you want overall. And if anybody wanted to share anything else, I just was excited to share those habits and learn some things on my own again. I've been studying this for a couple years and find something new all the time, so it's pretty awesome. Jared, anything else?
I just echo everything you said. I think this is the most powerful part of our long-term health, is just becoming more mindful, aware of how we think about things. Just give an analogy. I played high school and college basketball, and my coaches always, when we would get frantic and chaotic, they would always tell us to slow down in order to go fast. And sometimes you have to just slow down your mind, slow down mentally, and it actually allows you to be more efficient when things are crazy around you and stuff. So take time out of your life to slow down for a few minutes a day and just focus on breathing, or focus on, some people use meditation. And I'm not all about like getting in a perfect little meditation pose or anything like that, but just having positive self-talk, talking to yourself about the things that you're powerful at. This same mentor of mine, she shared with me something that she would do, and she said, I would meditate, and I would just sit in a comfortable position, and I would repeat these 3 words: "You are loved." And because there were a lot of times where she would just be in chaos of life, and she wouldn't feel loved, because it was just, this is my job as a mom, this is my job at work, this is my job, lots of different responsibilities and obligations in life. And she just needed to remember that people cared about her, and it allowed her to care more about other people. So just slow down to speed up.
Awesome. And one other thing is, there's a journal, a mind journal. I don't know if any of you guys have done that. I keep having that on my list, and I'm going to make it happen. So I challenge you guys all to start a mind journal if that's something you want to do, maybe with your family or whatever. Pay attention to what's going on in your mind, and so you can work out some of these emotions and really be propelled to find success. And thanks so much. Julia, anything else? You're good?
Nope, just thank you. I love it.